Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, Make Better Business Decisions with Insights and Tools. This session is for small businesses, but of course, everyone is welcome to stay and ask questions. My name is Shimmy, and I'm a part of the education team here at Xero. As you may be aware, it is Education Month at Xero, and we have a range of content available this month and even into December. There's lots of valuable content to choose from, so do make sure you check out some of our other webinars. My lovely co-hosts and I will post a link to the Education Month webpage in the chat box now. Now, we understand that running a business can be tricky and you'll have a million thoughts and questions running through your head at any time. How much do we owe our suppliers this month? Do we have enough money to pay them all? How much is then owed to us? And after all this, are we making a profit? In between running your business and then getting everything into Xero, it can be hard to find the time to search for answers without knowing exactly where to look. The good news is that Xero has a number of reporting tools available to give you the insights you need to make those important financial decisions for your business. And the best part, they can be quickly found with just a few clicks of a button. And if you've been using Xero for a while, you may be familiar with some of the reports and tools we're going to look through today, but you may still pick up a few tips along the way, and I'll also be calling out some new features as we go. So today we're going to be jumping into Xero and taking a look at some features to help you keep track of your business. We're going to start with a budget manager, Xero Simple Budgeting Tool. Then we'll look at the profit and loss report and how you can edit it to make it more meaningful for your business. Then we'll look at the business performance dashboard and Xero dashboard, two great places to see how your business is performing at a glance. And lastly, one of Xero's newest features, Analytics Plus. This is a really great add-on that gives you deeper business insights, options to customize, and make predictions with scenario planning. Just a note, you'll need the standard or advisor user role to access most of the features that we'll be covering today. Let's start with our first topic for the day, the budget manager. Having a financial plan and regularly checking in with it can keep your business on track and to help it grow. If you're new to budgeting or you're not too sure where to begin, Xero's Budget Manager is a great place to start. It allows you to set up budgets and then compare these against your actuals so that you can improve your finances and make a more accurate budget next time. You'll also have the option to update the budget during the period if you decide that it is way out. So let's head over to Xero and take a look. To get to the Budget Manager, you'll need to go to the main report section in Xero. Let's head to Accounting and then Reports. This page has been updated to make it more intuitive and highlight your favorite reports at the top. And you can find the Budget Manager under the Financial Performance section. An easy way to find reports is to use the search on the top right corner as well. So if we put in budget, here it is, and we'll go ahead and click on it. Once opened, you'll be presented with all your income and expense accounts set up for the business, with fields to enter budget figures for the upcoming months. You can include actual figures for up to 12 months if you wish. And this is really useful if you're not too sure what to set your budget figures to, because you can see what your actuals have been in the past for you to gauge. At the top, you can also change the start month. So this is when you like the budget to begin. Usually this would be the start of the accounting year, but we'll select last month. And then you can also choose the period for your budget, ranging from 3 to 24 periods allowing you to track the period of time that makes the most sense for your business. And then we can go ahead and click Update. And I also like to use this wide view so I can see more columns. Now, when it comes to entering the amounts, Xero makes it easy. So let's pop in an amount for advertising. So I'll just scroll down. Here is my advertising account. And I'll just put in an amount here. Put in 2,000. And once we've entered this, you can see a little green arrow to the right of this. And if you click on it, it's going to show you some really helpful formula shortcuts. So if you have fixed costs that remain the same each month, you can use this first option, apply fixed amount to each month, and Xero is going to populate it for all of your budget months. Otherwise, if the amount is expected to decrease or increase by a certain amount or percentage each month, you can select from one of these other two options. So for example, let's say this business spent quite a bit on advertising at the start of the year. So they're going to decrease the advertising spend for the remainder of the months. So we can select adjust by amount each month and put in -100, which is one less advert each month, and then click apply. And now you can see Xero has automatically calculated each month, decreasing it by $100. And don't forget to click save. If you need more formula functionality or entry options, you can also export the budget template to CSV, Excel, or Google Sheets to work on the budget in one of these programs. And once completed, you can upload it back into Xero using this import button here. Now, you may be wondering, what's the benefit of uploading a budget to Xero if it's already in a spreadsheet? A cool feature of the Budget Manager is that once a budget is entered and saved, you can run the profit and loss report and include columns for the budgeted figures to check that you're on track with your spending. And if you need to report on departments, cost centers, or regions, you can use tracking categories and then upload a budget for each tracking option to pull it into the profit and loss as well. And speaking of the profit and loss report, let's take a closer look at it now. So we can also access the profit and loss from the same reports menu that we were on earlier. And I've already favorited this report, so I can click into it from here. The profit and loss, or P&L for short, is a key report in Xero, and it allows you to see how your business is tracking with its income and expenses. It also has some great tools so you can dig a little deeper into the figures. When you open the report settings menu will be presented at the top, and this allows you to make some quick changes to the report showing. So here you can change the period the report is run for. So if we click on the drop-down box, you've got quite a few default options, and I'll go ahead and select last month. You can also show comparison periods. So in this case, if we compare it with the previous month, they'll also be displayed, which is a really great way of comparing actual figures for different periods. And we can filter by tracking category if one's been set up using this filter option here. So in this case, we've got one set up for regions, and then you can tick which ones you want to filter by. In this more option, it allows us to run the report on an accrual or cash basis and show some extra information, such as the accounting basis, account codes, decimals, percentage of trading income. This one's quite handy, so I'll tick it, as well as total and year to date. And if I go ahead and click update, a column will appear to show all amounts as a percentage of trading income. This is helpful to see how much you're spending on certain things in relation to the money coming in. And there have been some really great new features in this report over the last few months. And one of my favorites has got to be the collapsible side panel on the left. And if I just click into it, we can now see some common formats available for us. So our product team has looked at the common custom reports that our users have made and added these to the left so that you can easily select them rather than having to create them from scratch. So if you want to look at month or year-to-date reporting or compare tracking categories side by side, then you can do this in a matter of seconds now. So if I click on Compare Region, we can see all of the regions side by side in a matter of seconds. Pretty neat. And of course, you can click any of the figures on the report to bring up the account transactions report, but I prefer to use a right click and then select Open Link in a new tab or in a new window so that I can navigate back to this profit and loss report quickly. And this is going to show you a breakdown of the transactions that make up that figure. Now, we don't have time to cover the whole account transactions report today, but I want to highlight that it can be a great tool for monitoring activity in certain accounts. Using the new side panel, we can easily switch the report back to the standard version by clicking on the profit and loss option under the Xero standard report section here. But for even greater customization, Xero has the layout editor. And this is where you can really make the reports your own. So at the bottom of the report on the left, we can click the Edit Layout button. In this view, you'll be able to see all the accounts that make up the report, and you can drag and drop accounts to where you'd like them to display, as well as click into a group heading to change the name. So if I click into Trading Income, on the right-hand side, we've got some options, including the name if we would like to change it. You can also create subgroups using the Shift button on your keyboard to select multiple accounts. And I know I have a couple of accounts for travel. So if I want to create a sub-account for this, I'll tick the first account, hold down Shift on my keyboard and select the last account, which is this one here, and then click on the group selection button on the right. And we'll give it a group heading. Oops, if I can type. And there we have it, that's done. Now, if you want the subgroup to display as a single line, you can just click on this little arrow here to collapse it. And that means it's going to display as a single line in the report once we update it. Also, along the top, we have a few more options. So we can add text blocks if you wanted to pop in a note about the report or any of the accounts. You can also add a schedule to show a breakdown of the accounts. And this is handy if you've grouped them above and want the account detail included at the end of the report. You can also add a footer. And then we've got rows and columns. There's quite a few options there for you. And also a page break. We can also add or adjust formulas running on our rows or columns. So let's start with rows. You can see that there's already a couple of formulas in here by default, and this is indicated by this little F icon here. So there's one for gross profit as well as net profit down here. And if you click into it, you can see the formula being used. Let's add another row to show the gross profit as a percentage of trading income. So at the top, I'll click on row and then select formula. And this is going to add it right to the bottom of our report, but we can drag and drop it to where we would like it to display. So in this case, we want it to show under the gross profit. So I'll just drag and drop it underneath. Here we go. When entering formulas, you will need to use the insert functionality here to ensure that we're using the report figures. So in this case, we want to divide the gross profit by the trading income and then multiply it by 100. So first I'll enter an open bracket, click on gross profit divided by trading income, close bracket, and then times that by 100, get our percentage. Of course, we can give it a name. So I'll just enter gross profit percentage. And voila, the formula is now created here. Now that we've looked at rows, let's dive deeper into columns. So I mentioned earlier that once you've saved the budget, you can include the budgeted figures in the profit and loss report. And to do this, if we click on columns, we can select the budget option. And here it is. So once it's there, we can also add a column to show the budget variance. So again, to do that, we'll click on columns, and this time we'll select variance. And this time on the right-hand side, we can select our first column to be our actuals and our second column to be our budgeted figure. And this is going to give us the variance between these, and we can tick variance as a percentage of second column to show it as a percentage. And then once you've made your changes, go ahead and click the Update Layout button on the top right here. And this is going to take us back to the main report view, and we can see the actual figures and calculations as well as the variance. And if we look at sales, you can see that it's tracking well with a 20% increase, higher than what was budgeted. So this is positive. So this is going to help you understand where the business has saved or spent more than expected. So if you run this regularly, you're able to keep your business in check, and of course, to help you make more informed decisions going forward. And if you're happy with this new layout, make sure that you save it as a custom report so that you can quickly rerun it in the future. And to do this, click on the Save As button on the bottom right and select Custom and give it a distinct name. So I'm just going to add Budget Variance. Oh, and click Save. So now we can run that report again and again in the future without having to further customize it each time. So if you're new to budgeting, then this is going to be handy to help you understand how your business is tracking. However, if you have been budgeting for a while, then you might want a bit more info. In this case, we also have a detailed budget variance report, and this can be found on that new left-hand panel here. And it's called Budget Variance. This is going to give you the current month and quarter information, as well as the actual variance and the percentage variance, making it really great for those of you that are familiar with reading a budget variance. While it may take a little while to get the report set up, investing the time to do this will really pay off in the long run. As going forward, all you'll need to do is click into the Save Report and change the dates. And as you can see, custom reports provide you with the tailored information to help you make more informed business decisions. Now, sometimes you may need to gather financial insights to help not only yourself, but other stakeholders make better decisions. For example, investors or external analysts may be interested in certain areas to evaluate the profitability or liquidity of your business. And here's where the business performance dashboard comes in. So let's take a look. So we'll go back to the reports menu from accounting. And we can search for it using the top right search bar. And I'll just type in performance and click into it from here. So if you've been using Xero for a little while now, you'll be able to view a range of stats using this business performance dashboard. Now note that this is only available to advisor users in the organization. And in here, you're going to find a range of financial ratios, and you can use these to see where improvements can be made in your business. All of these ratios are calculated from different equations. So if you're unsure of what a ratio means or how it's calculated, you can click into the title to see the calculation. So for example, if we click on current ratio, we can see that it evaluates the balance of our receivables, inventory, and payables. And generally, you want this to be over 1 to ensure that the business has enough assets to cover upcoming liabilities as they are due. And if not sure about the amounts, you can hover above them to see what they're made up of. And to understand how a ratio has changed over months, you can click on the bar charts. And this is going to update the calculation for that month. These ratios can provide quick insights for questions like, how much of the business do I owe compared to how much I borrow? So that's the debt to equity ratio. Or how quickly do I collect what's owing? So if I scroll down, that's the accounts receivable days. There are a few different ratios here. So if you do need any information on them or if a stakeholder requires them, make sure to reach out to your advisor. And once you have a better understanding of these metrics, you may want to regularly track how you're doing. And Xero makes this really easy because you can favorite the metrics that you want to keep an eye on. And that's going to add them to your main dashboard. So if I go ahead and click on the star for the ones I want to keep an eye on. And then we go back to the main Xero dashboard. We can now see them here. And while we're on the dashboard, here's our next feature in Xero to help you gain valuable insights on how your business is performing. So the dashboard makes it easy to monitor how your business is doing at a glance every time you log into Xero. So as long as you're logging in regularly, there shouldn't be any surprises. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with all of the widgets in here, so I'm just going to highlight a couple of things quickly. First is the accounts watch list, which is here. So this is a good one to keep an eye on the monthly and year-to-date spend of certain accounts. And if you want accounts to show here, you can click on the little 3 dots and then edit accounts watch list, which is going to take you to the charted account screen. And from here, just find and click into the account that you want to include. So for example, I want to include the entertainment account. Here it is. And if I click into it, we can tick the checkbox, show on dashboard watch list to add it. Similarly, if there are accounts you no longer want to see, just find it in the list, click into it and untick that checkbox. And now if we head back to our dashboard, we can see the entertainment account here as well. And one of the newest features to the dashboard is the budget column in the accounts watch list. So if I click on three little dots, we now have this option, show budgets column. And if I enable it to turn it on, we now have a new column for our budget as well. So now we can see at a glance a budget for these key accounts as soon as we log into Xero. And if we scroll down, we can see the invoices owed to you and the bills you need to pay panels. And they are good ones to watch, especially the red overdue totals. And a reminder, if only some of these are helpful to you, you can scroll to the top and click Edit Dashboard to show and hide panels or rearrange them. So the Xero dashboard focuses on how your business is doing today. But if you want to know how the business is doing this month, quarter, or year, we have one last feature to show you today to help with this. You might already be familiar with analytics, which includes the short-term cash flow and the business snapshot, two beautiful and easy to read dashboards, making it easier to understand what's happening in your business. These are included in all business plans, and we recommend taking a look at these if you haven't already. But today, I want to talk about the additional features in the Plus version. Analytics Plus takes this to the next level with more advanced features and additional customization, giving you powerful insights into your cash flow and financial health. So let's take a quick look at what's included in Analytics versus Analytics Plus. Starting with the short-term cash flow. So this helps you understand your cash flow based on upcoming invoices and bills, including any scheduled repeating transactions. And you can project the cash flow for 7 or 30 days ahead. With the Plus version, it gives you more customization, better clarity on your cash flow, and greater detail over your finances. It allows you to project cash balances even further, showing the next 60 or 90 days. It helps predict recurring cash transactions with the assistance of artificial intelligence. And it also gives you the ability to manually add or remove future transactions for future scenario or budget planning. The business snapshot shows the key measures that every business should track to help monitor financial health. And you'll see key metrics, which I'll demo soon. You can run it on an accruals or cash basis and select from some common date ranges. But the Plus version of the business snapshot lets you drill down to see a detailed breakdown of the numbers on the dashboard. You can also set custom date ranges and change which accounts are included so that you can focus on whatever period you want and focus on the key numbers. Let's take a look at Analytics Plus. And I'm just going to switch to my other demo org, which has this. Okay, so from the business menu, you can select both of the analytics tools. And you can see that in this organization, I am on the Plus version. And we'll start with the short-term cash flow. First, we can select which bank accounts we want to include. So we've got 3 here, and I'll go ahead and click all of them. And then you can select from 7 to 90 days to project into the future. So with the standard, we've got 7 and 30 days, but with the plus version, you can choose from 60 or 90 days. So we'll go ahead and click next 90 days. And at the top, we can see a summary of the expected money in and out and our projection. And we also have a graph here as well to show the projection. So the projection includes any bills and invoices that are due in the future. By default, it's based on due dates. So if the due date has passed, the invoice or bill won't show in this projection unless you update the planned or expected payment dates to include it. I also want to point out that the projection doesn't include draft bills or invoices, and it doesn't include purchase orders or quotes either. So essentially, you can see up to 90 days whether you have enough cash to pay for your bills, wages, and tax. And if not, you can prioritize chasing for payments for your overdue sales invoices, or maybe there are some supply bill payments you can hold off. So those are just a couple of examples of how you can manage and stay on top of your cash flow using this projection tool. You can also click into the total money in and out tabs to see a breakdown of the projected money coming in or going out. And so here we can see a list of all the money coming in. And you can also hover over any of the dates on this graph to see the money in or out for that date and the projected balance. And if you click into a date, it's going to give you the breakdown below. So let's take a closer look at Xero's predictions. I'm going to change this group by day to all. And if we scroll down, you can see this Bank West line says it's a monthly prediction. And if we click into it, Xero has predicted this based on looking at the last 3 months of transactions in the selected bank accounts. And so it sees that this payment usually comes in every month and made a monthly prediction. However, if you know that that's no longer going to continue to happen, you can exclude the prediction from your projection by clicking this exclude prediction button. And if you want to learn more about how Xero calculates predictions, you can learn more by clicking on this quick link to our Xero Central support page here. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see some suggested actions to help us manage our cash flow. And I want to note it's important to ensure you reconcile the bank accounts regularly and update planned and expected payment dates for any overdue bills and invoices to include them in your projection. So we can see here that we've got about $26,000 worth of overdue bills. So let's go ahead and add planned payment dates to make our projection even more accurate. So if I click on add planned payment dates for these bills here, we can do it from this screen. And if I go to the oldest and tick them, and I know that we have enough money to cover these this month, so I'm going to select the end of the month. And then we can click update bills to add those dates. And you can follow the same process to update the expected payment dates for your sales invoices as well. And before I go back up to the graph to show you the projection, I want to mention that with the plus version, you can also create business scenarios by adding transactions to the cash flow transaction. So we can use this add money in or out here to do some budget planning or scenario planning. So let's say we want to purchase some more equipment in the future. I'm just going to put in new equipment. We'll leave it as money going out and put in quite a large figure here, $50,000, and select the beginning of the new month to see if we can actually afford to make this new purchase, and click add. And now if I scroll back to our graph at the top and click into the date that we added that new transaction, we can see straight away from the graph, it's turned red to say that we don't have enough cash flow for this new purchase. So straight away, we know that it's probably not a great time. And in this case, we can edit the date or the amount of that transaction to see when is a good time to make it. So here it is here. If I click into it, we have the option to edit the amount or the date or even remove it. So maybe we want to change the date to a future date when we know we've got more cash flow to cover it. So you can just make these edits as many times as you need to see when it is good to make investments into your business or any large purchases. Now let's head to the business snapshot. So we'll go back to the top, click on business and select business snapshot. So this shows the key measures that every business should track to help monitor financial health. You'll see key metrics such as the profit or loss, as well as your profit margins, your largest operating expenses, as well as the average time to get paid. As with the free version, you can print this report, run it on accruals or cash basis, and choose some common timeframes. But with the plus version, there are more options for customization. You can set a custom date range. So for example, if I want to look at my business since 1st of September, after we made a change to our sales model, we can. So if I click in here, I can select custom date range, change it to the 1st of September up to today's date. And it's updated our metrics. And if we scroll down, you'll see how income, expenses, and gross margin are tracking. And we can see the largest operating expenses and how they compare to the same period last year. You can also update this view to show the expenses that have seen the biggest increase. So if I click on this little header here where it says largest expenses, we've got the option to choose expenses that have increased the most. So if certain costs are starting to add up, it might be time to start thinking of strategies to get these down as your business grows. And towards the bottom, there are some important metrics from the balance sheet, such as your assets, liabilities, and equity. And you can see that you can click into those to see the breakdown in more detail. And the newest feature here is that some of the key performance ratios we showed you earlier in the business performance dashboard is now included in the business snapshot. So if we enable this option, show financial ratios, we can see the most popular ratios here as well. So potentially one less dashboard to use. And before I wrap up, I want to mention that you can click into the P&L income or expense tiles, and that's going to open the profit and loss report in a new tab so you can take a detailed look at your business performance for this period that you've selected. Clicking into one of the expenses that have increased here is going to open the account transactions report in a new tab for your chosen period as well. And by default, these graphs include all income and expenses in period that you've selected, but you can choose to exclude any of these to see the effect on the metrics. So if I scroll back to the top, we have this Edit Metrics button here, and untick the accounts that you want to exclude. You can also select which expenses you'd like to display here, as well as select customer expense accounts and hide or show certain metrics depending on what you want to focus your interests on. So that covers a number of tools available in Xero to help with vital decision making. To recap, we've covered how to add budgets in Xero so that you can ensure that the business is tracking as you've planned. We've also looked at customizing the profit and loss report to give you more meaningful information from it. And then the business performance and Xero dashboards to get instant insights. Lastly, we looked at Analytics Plus, which can really help with getting an overall view on performance and how your cash flow is expected to change. So as you can see, Xero can be used for more than just accounting. It can also be used as a business planning and decision-making tool. There are a range of features to help with quickly gaining insights on how the business is performing. And if you need any help on your next steps after discovering the insights, do make sure to reach out to your advisor for more support. And if you don't already have one, check out the Xero Advisor directory to find advisors in your area. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this webinar. It's been a pleasure to have you with us today. If you like today's webinar, be sure to check out the upcoming Education Month content. These are the sessions that we recommend to create a valuable learning journey for you. So we've got Get Paid Faster with online invoice payments. This is sure to help with your cash flow. And then automate data entry with HubDoc and Xero. And you can register for these and any other upcoming Education Month webinars by scanning the QR code on the slide. Love to see you at another session. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day and we see you in a future webinar soon. Thank you, take care and goodbye.